Preston Hartley adjusted his watch for the 5th time, the gold band catching the soft candlelight of Riverside Bistro. 8:30 at night on Christmas Eve, and he sat alone at a table meant for two. Around him, couples laughed and clinked glasses, their joy amplifying his growing embarrassment. He checked his phone again. Nothing from Jennifer, the woman his business partner had insisted was perfect for him. The reservation had been for 7:30. An hour had passed. Preston had called twice, sent 3 messages, and received only silence in return. This marked the 9th failed attempt at dating in the past month. 9 different women, 9 different disasters. At this point, he was starting to believe the universe had a personal grudge against his love life. A waitress with auburn hair tied in a loose braid approached his table. She wore a simple black uniform with a small reindeer pin on her collar. Her green eyes held a mixture of sympathy and something else. Amusement, maybe, so she began, setting down a glass of water he had not requested. "How long are we pretending the invisible woman is just running late?" Preston looked up, surprised by her directness. "Excuse me? Look, I have been watching you check your phone every 30 seconds for the past hour. Either you are waiting for news about a kidney transplant, or you got stood up." She pulled out her notepad. "I am Olivia, by the way, and I am guessing it is the second one." Despite everything, Preston felt a small smile forming. "That obvious? Honey, you have rearranged the silverware 4 times and folded your napkin into what I think is supposed to be a swan. The signs are pretty clear." Olivia tilted her head. "Christmas Eve date? Blind date," Preston admitted. "Set up by a friend." Ouch. Olivia made a sympathetic face. Blind dates are risky enough on regular days. On Christmas Eve, that is just asking for trouble. "So what happened? Did she give any reason?" "She stopped answering about 2 hours ago." Olivia let out a low whistle. "That is cold. Like North Pole level cold. No pun intended." She glanced around the busy restaurant, then back at him. "You know what? I am making an executive decision here. You are going to order the best thing on our menu, and I am personally going to make sure this night does not end as the worst Christmas Eve of your life." Preston raised an eyebrow. "Is that part of the restaurant policy?" "Nope. That is pure Olivia Bennett policy. I have a strict rule against letting decent people suffer alone on holidays." She leaned in slightly. "You seem decent. Am I wrong?" "I would like to think I am decent. Good enough for me." Olivia scribbled something on her notepad. "Our chef makes this incredible braised short rib that will make you forget all about invisible Jennifer. Trust me on this." "How did you know her name was Jennifer?" "Lucky guess. She sounds like a Jennifer." Olivia shrugged. "They always do." For the first time that evening, Preston laughed. Really laughed. "You are very strange." "Thank you. I work hard at it." Olivia's smile was genuine and warm. "But seriously, no one should eat alone on Christmas Eve. So while I cannot sit with you because I am technically working, I can stop by between orders and keep you company. Deal?" Preston found himself nodding. Deal. True to her word, Olivia returned every 15 minutes. She brought bread, made jokes about other customers without being mean, and shared stories about her own dating disasters. There was the man who brought his mother on their first date, the one who spent 2 hours talking about his fantasy football league, the one who asked her to pay because he had forgotten his wallet at his other girlfriend's house. "Wait," Preston interrupted. "Other girlfriend? Right?" "The audacity," Olivia laughed. "Some people really test your faith in humanity. But then you meet someone who restores it a little." "Yes. Is that what I am doing? Restoring your faith?" "Maybe." Olivia set down his dessert, a slice of chocolate cake she insisted was on the house. "You have not been rude once, even though you have every reason to be in a bad mood. You have not taken your frustration out on me, and you laughed at my terrible jokes. That makes you better than 70% of the people I meet." Preston took a bite of the cake. "It was incredible. This is amazing." "I know. Our pastry chef is a magician." Olivia checked her watch. "We close in an hour. What are your plans for tomorrow?" "Please tell me you are not spending Christmas alone eating microwave dinners and watching infomercials." That was exactly my plan, actually. Olivia's face fell. Oh, no, 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 no. That is unacceptable. She grabbed a napkin and wrote something down. Okay, this is crazy, and you can absolutely say no. But how would you feel about coming to my family's Christmas dinner tomorrow? Preston stared at her. What? I know it sounds insane. We just met. But my mom always makes enough food to feed a small army. My sister will probably challenge you to video games, and I promise we are only moderately dysfunctional. Olivia pushed the napkin toward him. That is my address. Dinner starts at 5. Just show up. No pressure. Why would you invite a complete stranger to your family Christmas? Olivia met his eyes with surprising seriousness. Because I have been stood up before. I know how much it hurts. And because something tells me you are a good person who deserves better than spending the holidays alone, she stood up. Think about it. The invitation stands either way. She walked away. Preston looked down at the napkin. An address in neat handwriting, followed by a small, smiley face. He folded it carefully and put it in his pocket. For the first time in months, Preston felt something shift inside him. Hope? Maybe? Or just the simple warmth of human kindness. Whatever it was, it felt like the best Christmas gift he had received in years. Preston woke up. Christmas morning, with sunlight streaming through his penthouse windows. The city of Denver stretched below him, blanketed in fresh snow. He lay in bed for a long moment, staring at the napkin on his nightstand. The address seemed to glow in the morning light, daring him to be brave. His logical mind listed all the reasons this was a terrible idea. Olivia was a stranger. Her family did not know him. He could be walking into an awkward disaster. But his heart, the part of him that had laughed genuinely for the first time in months last night, whispered something different. By noon, Preston had changed clothes 6 times. Too formal made him look like he was attending a business meeting. Too casual seemed disrespectful. He finally settled on dark jeans, a navy sweater, and a brown leather jacket. He stopped at a wine shop and bought a bottle that cost more than most people's weekly groceries. Then, second-guessed himself and bought a box of expensive chocolates as well. The Bennett house was in a modest neighborhood where every home seemed to compete for the best. Christmas decorations. Number 42 had multicolored lights strung across the roof, an inflatable Santa in the yard, and a wreath on the door made of pine cones and red ribbons. Preston sat in his car for 3 full minutes, gripping the steering wheel. Before he could change his mind, the front door opened. Olivia stood there in a green sweater with a ridiculous Christmas tree pattern, waving at him with both arms. I saw you sitting out there having an existential crisis, she called out. Get in here before you freeze. Preston grabbed the wine and chocolates and walked up the path. Olivia met him at the door with a huge smile. You actually came. I told Mom you would, but she bet me $5 you would chicken out. Olivia took the wine bottle, and her eyes widened. Whoa, this is fancy. Like really fancy? We usually drink the stuff that comes in boxes. I can take it back and get something else. Are you kidding? Mom is going to lose her mind. Come on. Olivia pulled him inside. The house was warm and smelled like cinnamon and roasted turkey. A Christmas tree dominated the small living room, decorated with ornaments that looked handmade and collected over many years. Photos covered every wall, showing Olivia and another girl growing up through various awkward phases. Mom, Sophie, he came. Olivia shouted. A woman in her 50s emerged from the kitchen, wiping flour-covered hands on an apron that read Queen of the Kitchen. She had the same green eyes as Olivia and a smile that could melt ice. You must be Preston. I am Ruth. She hugged him before he could even think about offering a handshake. Welcome, welcome. Olivia would not stop talking about you this morning. Said you were too nice to spend Christmas alone. Thank you for having me. Mrs. Bennett. Ruth, please. Mrs. Bennett was my mother-in-law, and she was terrifying. Ruth took the wine bottle and gasped. Oh my goodness. This has French words on it. We are definitely drinking this. A younger woman bounded down the stairs, wearing reindeer antlers that bobbed as she moved. Is this the guy from the restaurant? The one who got ditched by what's-her-name? Sophie. Olivia threw a couch pillow at her sister. Sophie dodged it easily. What? You told us the whole story. She turned to Preston and stuck out her hand. I am Sophie, the younger and more attractive sister. Welcome to the chaos. Ignore her. She thinks she is funny, Olivia said. I am funny. Mom, am I funny? You are something, Ruth called from the kitchen. Preston found himself laughing again. The Bennett family had an energy that was completely foreign to him. His own childhood had been quiet, structured, filled with tutors and expectations. This house buzzed with life and noise and love. Come sit. Olivia guided him to the couch. Dinner will be ready in about 30 minutes. Want something to drink? We have soda, juice, beer, and now fancy French wine that I am scared to open. Water is fine. Sophie plopped down in an armchair across from them. So Preston, Olivia says you are some kind of tech genius. What does that mean exactly? Do you hack into government databases? Sophie. Olivia buried her face in her hands. What? It is a valid question. Preston smiled. Nothing that exciting. I run a software company. We develop security systems for businesses. That actually sounds pretty cool, Sophie admitted. Can you hack into my ex-boyfriend's Instagram? I just want to see if he is dating that girl from his gym. No, he cannot hack your ex's Instagram, Olivia said firmly. You are no fun. Ruth returned with a tray of snacks. Cheese, crackers, and vegetables, arranged in a way that was more enthusiastic than elegant. So Preston, tell us about yourself. Olivia mentioned you have had some rough luck with dating lately. Preston felt his face heat up. She told you about that. Honey, she told us everything. The crying ex-wife lady, the one with the secret dog, the one who confused you with someone else. Ruth counted on her fingers. You have been through the wars. It has been a challenging few weeks, Preston admitted. Challenging? Sophie snorted. That sounds like a nightmare. Why do you keep trying blind dates? Have you heard of dating apps? I have tried those too. Same results. Maybe you are looking in the wrong places, Ruth suggested gently. Sometimes the best things come when we stop looking so hard. Olivia caught Preston's eye and smiled softly. Something unspoken passed between them. Dinner was served at a table that was too small for 4 people and all the food. Turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, green bean casserole, cranberry sauce, rolls, and 3 different types of pie waiting on the counter. The china did not match. The glasses were all different sizes, but everything felt perfect. Before we eat, we do a little tradition, Ruth announced. Everyone shares something they are grateful for this year. Sophie went first. I am grateful I finally saved enough money to go back to college in January, and that my family did not disown me when I dropped out the first time. We considered it, Olivia teased. Your turn, Sophie shot back. Olivia grew thoughtful. I am grateful for second chances, for new friendships, and for people who remind me that kindness matters. She looked at Preston when she said it. Ruth dabbed at her eyes with her napkin. I am grateful for my beautiful daughters and for the unexpected guests who make holidays special. She smiled at Preston. Your turn, dear. Preston felt a lump in his throat. I am grateful that a waitress refused to let me eat alone last night, and for being welcomed into a home that feels more like family than any place I have been in a long time. Sophie made an exaggerated crying sound. Now I am going to cry and I just did my makeup. You're not wearing makeup, Olivia pointed out. Exactly. It is tragic. This dinner was filled with stories and laughter. Ruth told embarrassing tales about both daughters. Sophie shared stories about her classes and her dreams of becoming a teacher. Olivia talked about the restaurant and the characters who came through every week. Preston found himself sharing things he never talked about. His workaholic tendencies, his loneliness. How success in business had somehow left him empty in life? Money does not buy happiness, Ruth said wisely. But family and love? Those are priceless. After dinner came games. Board games that got competitive, card games that had rules Sophie kept making up, and charades that had everyone laughing until they cried. Preston could not remember the last time he had simply played. Simply enjoyed a moment without thinking about work or obligations, or the next thing on his schedule. As the evening wound down, Preston helped Olivia clear the dishes, while Ruth and Sophie argued over which pie to have first. "Thank you for inviting me," Preston said quietly. "This has been the best Christmas I have had in years. Maybe ever," Olivia smiled, her hands in soapy water. "Thank you for coming. For being brave enough to accept a crazy invitation from a stranger. You are not a stranger anymore." "No," Olivia agreed, meeting his eyes. "I guess I am not." In that moment, standing in a modest kitchen, with mismatched dishes and the sound of family laughter in the background, Preston realized something had shifted in his life. Something important. Something real. The morning after Christmas, Preston woke up in his penthouse feeling different. The expensive furniture and floor-to-ceiling windows that usually impressed him now felt cold and empty. He made coffee in his state-of-the-art machine and sat by the window, watching Denver come alive below him. His mind kept replaying moments from the previous day. Ruth's warm hugs, Sophie's terrible jokes, and Olivia's smile that seemed to light up the entire room. He picked up his phone 3 times to text Olivia, then put it down each time. What would he even say? Thank you felt too formal. I had fun seemed too casual. I have not stopped thinking about you since I left. Seemed too intense, even if it was true. Finally, around noon, his phone buzzed. A message from Olivia. "So, did we scare you away completely, or are you still recovering from Sophie's charade's performance?" Preston smiled and typed back. "Still recovering? I did not know it was possible to act out The Empire Strikes Back using only aggressive hand gestures. She has a gift. Also, Mom wanted me to ask if you ate the leftovers she packed for you. She will be personally offended if you did not. I had them for breakfast. Tell her they were amazing. She is going to love that. Also, what are you doing this afternoon?" Preston looked around his empty apartment. Nothing concrete. Why? Want to grab coffee? There is a place near the park that makes the best hot chocolate in Denver. My treat, since you brought that fancy wine yesterday. You do not have to treat me. I want to. Meet me at River Park Cafe at 2. Preston found himself grinning at his phone like a teenager. I will be there. I arrived 15 minutes early, which gave him time to panic about whether this was a date or just a friendly coffee. Olivia showed up right at 2, wearing jeans and a thick burgundy sweater, her auburn hair loose around her shoulders. She looked beautiful in a way that had nothing to do with expensive clothes or perfect makeup. You are early, she observed, sitting down across from him. That is very responsible of you. I did not want to be late. After being stood up, I bet you are extra careful about that now. Olivia ordered 2 hot chocolates from the waitress. So how does it feel to be back in your normal life after experiencing the Bennett family chaos? Preston considered the question. Honestly, it feels quiet. Too quiet. That is how I feel about your world, I imagine. All fancy and organized, and probably with furniture that matches. Olivia stirred her hot chocolate when it arrived. Can I ask you something? Anything? Why do you work so much? I mean, Olivia mentioned you work 70-hour weeks. That seems like a lot. Preston wrapped his hands around his mug. I suppose because I am good at it. Building a company, solving problems, making deals. That part makes sense to me. The rest of life has always been harder. The rest of life being relationships, connections, knowing what to say to people who are not talking about business proposals. Preston met her eyes. Until I met you, I had forgotten how to just talk to someone. Really talk. Olivia's cheeks flushed slightly. You make it sound like I did something special. I just refused to let you eat alone. That was special. More than you know.
Oh.
Preston leaned forward. Can I be honest with you about something? Please. I have not stopped thinking about yesterday. About your family. About how it felt to be included in something real. And mostly about you. Preston felt his heart racing. I know we just met. I know this is probably too fast. But I would really like to take you on a proper date. If you are interested, Olivia bit her lip, a small smile forming. Define proper date. Dinner at a nice restaurant. Maybe a movie or a walk. Something where we get to know each other better without your sister making sound effects in the background. Olivia laughed. Sophie does have a tendency to provide unnecessary commentary. She reached across the table and touched his hand. I would love to go on a proper date with you, Preston. But I have one condition. What is that? You have to promise that if you ever feel like you are drowning in work again, if you ever feel that loneliness creeping back, you will call me, even if we are just friends. Even if this date goes terribly. Deal. Preston felt something tight in his chest loosen. Deal. They spent the next 3 hours in that coffee shop, talking about everything. Preston learned that Olivia had wanted to be a teacher, but could not afford to finish college. She worked at the restaurant to help her mom with bills after her father had passed away 5 years earlier. She loved old movies, terrible reality TV shows, and had read every book in the local library's mystery section twice. Olivia learned that Preston had built his company from nothing, that he had been poor once too. That success had come at the cost of almost everything else in his life. She learned about his distant family, his lack of close friends, his desperate attempts to find connection in all the wrong places. You were looking for something perfect, Olivia said gently. But perfect does not exist. Real does. Is that what this is? Real? I think so. Scary, right? Preston smiled. Terrifying. But in a good way. Their first official date happened 3 days later. Dinner at a restaurant that was nice but not pretentious. Followed by a walk through downtown Denver to see the Christmas lights that were still up. Preston held Olivia's hand, and it felt like the most natural thing in the world. The second date was ice skating, where Olivia fell 7 times and laughed every single time. The third was a movie that neither of them watched because they were too busy talking in whispers. January came. Preston found himself at the Bennett house for Sunday dinners. February brought Valentine's Day, where Preston surprised Olivia by cooking dinner himself. It was a disaster. Smoke alarm included, but she loved it anyway. March, April, May passed in a blur of moments. Some big, like when Preston met Olivia's extended family. Some small, like lazy Sunday mornings, drinking coffee and reading the paper together. Preston cut his work hours, hired more staff, and learned that success meant nothing without someone to share it with. By summer, Preston had a drawer at Olivia's apartment. By fall, Olivia had a key to his penthouse. They balanced each other. She taught him to slow down, to find joy in simple things, to let people in. He encouraged her dreams, helped her enroll in online classes, showed her that wanting more did not mean abandoning family. When Christmas came around again, Preston knew exactly what he wanted to do. Christmas Eve found him back at Riverside Bistro, sitting at the same table where he had been stood up a year earlier. But this time, Olivia sat across from him, beautiful in a deep green dress, completely unaware of what was coming. I cannot believe it has been a year, Olivia said, looking around the restaurant. Remember how pathetic you looked sitting here alone? Thanks for that. I am kidding. You look distinguished. Sad, but distinguished. Olivia reached across the table for his hand. Best decision I ever made, talking to you that night. Funny, I was just thinking the same thing. Preston stood up, his heart pounding. Olivia, this time last year, I thought I had everything figured out. I had money, success, a nice apartment, but I was missing the only thing that actually mattered. I was missing someone to share it all with. Preston, what are you doing? He got down on one knee, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. Around them, the restaurant grew quiet. I am asking you to marry me. I am asking you to keep teaching me how to live, how to love, how to find joy in the chaos. I am asking you to let me spend every Christmas for the rest of my life with you and your incredible family. Tears streamed down Olivia's face. You practiced this speech, did not you? For 3 weeks. Is it too much? It is perfect. Olivia laughed through her tears. Yes, I will marry you. The restaurant erupted in applause. Preston slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her, feeling like the luckiest man alive. Later that night, at the Bennett house, surrounded by Ruth and Sophie and enough food for an army, Preston realized something profound. A year ago, he had been stood up, alone, convinced that he would never find what he was looking for. He had been searching for perfect when what he needed was real. He needed someone who saw past his money and success. Someone who challenged him, made him laugh, and refused to let him hide behind his work. He needed Olivia, the waitress with the kind heart who had saved his Christmas and changed his life. As midnight approached and Ruth brought out champagne to celebrate the engagement, Preston caught Olivia's eye across the room. She mouthed, "I love you," and he felt his heart swell. Sometimes the best things in life come when you stop looking. Sometimes they come wearing an apron and carrying a plate of complimentary bread. Sometimes they come in the form of a spontaneous invitation from a stranger who somehow knew exactly what you needed. Preston raised his glass in a toast. 2 Christmas miracles, 2 second chances. And to the brave waitress who refused to let a sad stranger eat alone, to family, Ruth added. To love, Sophie said, wiping her eyes. To us, Olivia finished, her hand finding Preston's. And to every Christmas from now until forever.
Outside.
Snow began to fall over Denver, blanketing the city in white. Inside the small house on Maple Street, a family celebrated. Not a perfect family, but a real one. And that made all the difference. The end.